As usually happens during discussions of the youth of America on this program, and particularly on college campi, I will report something factual and be deluged with emails from people who do not believe me, accuse me of making it up. And so I then am forced to go get evidence, which I'm happy to do. And I have some here in my formerly nicotine-stained picture. Just one story, but this is one of many. They're all over the place. University of Missouri Police. This is the University Police Force, not the Columbia, Missouri Police Force. The University of Missouri Police asks students to report hurtful speech. The Missouri University Police Department, MUPD, sent an email to students Tuesday morning, that's today for those of you in Rio Linda, urging them to call them and report any hurtful speech they encounter on campus. In an email that was flagged by several Missouri-based journalists, the Missouri University Police Department asked individuals who witness incidents of hateful and or hurtful speech or actions to call the department's general phone line to continue to ensure the University of Missouri campus remains safe. We have a bunch of children, folks. We have a bunch of 4- and 5-year-olds who see the boogeyman outside the back door. And everybody's the boogeyman. It doesn't matter. Anything outside the comfort level, and it's very narrow. The comfort level is very narrow. You'd better be 100% politically correct. You cannot be in any way, shape, manner, or form conservative. You can't be self-reliant. You can't be self-confident. All of that offends. All of that scares. I'm not kidding. If you're confident, running around campus, sure of yourself, having a good time, you pose a threat because nobody's supposed to be that sure of themselves. Nobody's supposed to be that confident because there are too many outside forces that are working to undermine people, and you're not supposed to be able to just have that stuff roll off your back. And anybody who can is a suspect because it's not natural. You are to be vulnerable. You are to be exposed. You are to be very wary of those things that can hurt you. If anybody says anything outside the doctrine of climate change, they're going to be reported. If anybody makes any kind of a stereotypical joke, they are now going to be reported to the campus cops. This is another example of the adults caving. They're trying to buy peace. This is not the way to get it. This is not the way you deal with bullies. I don't care if they're children bullies, coward bullies, or what have you. This is not the way you deal with them. You stand up to them. You push back against them. But nobody's willing to do that. Nobody's willing to do that to the Democrat Party bullies. Nobody's willing to do that to the White House bullies. Nobody's willing to do it to student bullies. Nobody's willing to do it to race hustler bullies. And so we end up with a bunch of stories that are fabrications and out-and-out lies, such as hands up, don't shoot. We have students 120 miles down the road literally scared to death and feeling unsafe because there was not an appropriate response from the university administration after Ferguson happened. Never mind that the students don't know the truth of what happened in Ferguson, and if they're told it, that makes them feel unsafe. That frightens them. That worries them. They don't want to hear anything other than what they, quote-unquote, know to be true. Be it climate change, be it fossil fuels, be it blood for oil, be it you name it. Hands up, don't shoot. And so, the University of Missouri Police Department is suggesting that students provide a detailed description of the offender, the location of the offender, or the license plate number of the offender's car. And if the car is offensive, and they're being urged to even take pictures of the people saying or doing things that offend them, that make them feel unsafe, take pictures of people engaging in hurtful speech. You know what hurtful speech is? It's anything our little children don't understand. It's anything our little children don't agree with. It's anything our little children don't want to have to deal with. It's all hurtful. And they demand to be protected from it. The only way to be protected from it is to find the people engaging in hurtful speech, using the First Amendment, and somehow penalize them. Kick them out of school, kick them out of town, put them in jail, whatever it takes to protect our precious treasure of our young college children. Yes, because they must not be upset. They must not at all ever encounter anything that makes them the slightest bit uncomfortable. Otherwise, they may have to postpone taking tests because they will not be in a proper mental attitude of success to take one. It's a terrible, terrible downward cycle that we have put our children in, all because of the mean-spirited, racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobic American culture. In the email, the University of Missouri Police Department admits that hurtful or hateful speech is not against the law. But that doesn't matter. Only the feelings of our young children students matter. The police department writes, if the individuals identified, the hurtful speech students, if they're students, the university's Office of Student Conduct will be informed and will take disciplinary action. Realize the power this gives the children? Hey, I saw a Confederate flag 2 blocks away going through a green light. You got it. And they're going to track down that car. They're going to find a Confederate flag. And if it's a student, the student's going to hear from the university administration department and explain him or herself. And if they don't have a valid reason for driving around with a Confederate flag somewhere on their car, and who could in this day and age, then I shudder to think what's going to happen to them. Might be thrown out of school because they're unnecessarily upsetting the student body. The Confederate flag example is real. This hunger strike student says that he was walking along campus one day and heard somebody shouting the N-word. He doesn't know who, doesn't know where it came from. So he tried to get the university president, Tim Thorpe, whatever his name is, to do something about it. And the university president's office didn't respond to the guy. And that's what started this. Did you know that? Did you know that that's what started this? Theoretically, that's what started this. What started this is political correctness, the multicultural curriculum, and liberal community organizers decades ago started this. But this specific event was started by this hunger strike kid walking along campus. He's been on campus for 7 years. Did you know that? 7 years. How does one stay on campus 7 years if you can't afford it? How does one stay on campus 7 years if you're passing your classes? How does one stay on campus that's so rotten and horrible and racist and bigoted? Why would you stay there for 7 years? Anyway, apparently he's walking down the street, minding his own business, being a good liberal, highly attuned to anything that might offend or upset anybody. And from somewhere over there, street, building, somewhere, he hears the N-word. And he can barely go on. In his quaking fear, he calls the university office, the office of the president, and reports the incident. He can't identify anybody. He just says it happened. And therefore, the climate is unsafe. Therefore, it's not safe. The environment, nothing is safe. Everybody feels threatened. The student feels threatened. Apparently, the president of the college didn't respond, didn't do anything. The office of the president didn't react, and therefore the students felt ostracized. They felt ignored. They felt irrelevant. They felt like nobody cared. Nobody from upper management, theoretically, cared. Nobody was upset whatsoever. And we have an unsafe, dangerous environment. And nobody cared to do anything. And that's what started all of this. Now, the football team, look, that's a whole other thing. And you have no idea what that's going to mean. I mean, weeks, months from now, next season, you wait till these people learn that they can get their universities to do anything if they can co-opt a football team into joining whatever they're protesting. And imagine the peer pressure on African-American football players. You better join our protest, or else you better join us in our protest. You better sign this pledge to you not play, not practice. You better sign the boycott pledge. Can you imagine this happening in Ohio State? Can you imagine this happening in Clemson? Can you imagine anywhere? Mizzou has a record nobody cares about. If Mizzou didn't play another game, nobody'd miss it. You take it to a program that's got a national championship possibility, and it's going to happen. And you're going to have, I've warned you for decades, folks, about how the politics of sports is occurring, or the politicizing of sports is taking place. Nothing is safe from it any longer.